On today's show, I have Lori and Amanda. Would y'all be representatives, I guess is one way to put it, of Beyond the Ribbon? Or, if y'all want to introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about yourselves, feel free.
Yeah, so we're actually co-founders of Beyond the Ribbon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Then I'm glad I have y'all both on the show.
Yes.
So yeah, if y'all don't mind, telling us a little bit about yourself. Are y'all from the Valley originally, or just a little bit of backstory of where y'all are from and how y'all ended up together in terms of starting the organization and stuff like that?
Born in Houston, originally grew up in the Valley, graduated from McAllen High School.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer 11 years ago.
Wow.
And I got treated at MD Anderson, and I saw Dr. Merrick at Texas Oncology throughout the whole treatment. And I am 11 years out, cancer-free.
Wow, and congratulations.
Yeah, it's a big accomplishment and, a goal of a lot of people that are going through the treatment. And I wanted to give back. I wanted to help the community out by giving back and helping those that are going through it, because when I was going through breast cancer, I didn't know anybody. I was on Facebook chatting with people around the world.
Through like Facebook groups?
Facebook groups.
Yeah, that's what Elvia, a previous guest that I've had on, a breast cancer survivor as well, she talked about how like instrumental those Facebook groups were to learn about just the whole process of going through.
Yeah, and you would see questions on there, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling that way too. How did you go through it and stuff like that? And I wanted to be that resource to the Valley, because there's so many people that are being diagnosed with all types of cancer here, and there's nothing that they can really do or speak to. And we wanted to be a resource. Well, when we became Beyond the Ribbon, we started realizing that there were other nonprofits that are, just giving back to cancer. So we kind of linked up with a few people, and along the way, we've made a bigger network of patients here locally and survivors and caregivers that are going through the same thing that we've gone through. We just wanted to give back and give some recommendations and help guide people to the right resources and help them along the way with treatment, and knowing that we are there for them and they're not alone. So about 2 years ago, we were asked to be on a fashion show, and we kind of raised money, in that way.
Okay,
but
cool.
We wanted to do something on our own, because we are breast cancer survivors. There are about 5 of us that are breast cancer survivors that are on the board, and we wanted to make our own thing of Beyond the Ribbon, giving back and just giving the financial assistance to the community and keep it here locally, because the Rio Grande Valley needs that education, needs that support, and needs that help.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Amanda, are you also,
Yeah, so I'm also a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed back in 2020.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually gonna hit my 5-year mark next month.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, are we still April? Yeah, next month. I was diagnosed with stage 3B invasive ductal carcinoma. I was a single mom. I was diagnosed during COVID, so we know how COVID just changed our world. So I did go through all my treatment plan by myself.
Wow.
I was also treated at MD Anderson. I do see Dr. Restrepo with Texas Oncology as well, which he's great. So yeah, I remember walking into MD Anderson during COVID. It was just empty.
Wow.
My parents were in the vehicle in the parking garage waiting for me to call them with the results. So we had to do FaceTime. It was just a crazy time.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know that. So yeah, I wanted to, I guess like within my journey, I was by myself the majority of the time. So as I started going through the treatment and all of that, just like Lori said, I started joining MD Anderson support groups. There was Facebook pages, Texas support group, women's chat, or just different types of resources. And I started thinking that there wasn't much here locally. So I met Lori through the fashion show, and we decided we stayed connected, and we were having conversations here and there, like, hey, how about we start something of our own? Just because we know what it's like to go through the struggle, go through the financial crisis in a sense.
Yeah.
So we got together and we got other breast cancer survivors who also understand the journey, and we started it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, for me, it's more of letting the individuals who are going through the journey know that they're not alone, because I know what it felt like going through it by myself. And at least for me, like, I know all of us in general, my heart wants to give back as much as I can, as we can, because we know the struggle firsthand.
Yeah.
And that's our mission, just to provide that assistance, whether it be financially, whether it be support assistance, just being there for the patient is what matters the most to us.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so how long ago did y'all start the organization? How long has it been, you know?
We're actually gonna have a year.
Our paperwork was done, completed in July.
Okay.
We started fundraising in August, and we've given out at least 20,000.
About 20,000.
Wow, that's really
since
awesome.
August 2025. So
So
we're
this is just
not.
the tip of the iceberg then.
Yes.
We haven't yet completed the year of fundraising, but this year, it's taken off and our name's getting out there. We haven't mentioned, but we do have support groups quarterly, and
Cool.
we invite the whole community, the RGV from Cameron County to Star, to come and visit with us and share their story along the way, because you're not necessarily expected to talk at the support groups, but as long as you're there hearing somebody else's story, it might help them.
Yeah, definitely. I've been a part of support groups, being a military veteran and just having other people at these what was called IOP, intensive outpatient. So it was really just a group talk. We would do it multiple times a week and just talk about our frustrations and our experiences.
Thank you for your service.
Oh yeah, of course. No problem. Yeah, so I met at the fashion show.
Yes. Yeah.
And who hosted that, or what was that exactly?
It was a fashion show for women with breast cancer.
Okay.
So it's run by Debbie Liu. She still has it.
Cool.
It's hosted in October, and we met there. We met so many women there, and we just shared each other's story, just sitting down and getting our makeup done, getting ready for the fashion show, and that's where we connected.
Wow.
There was a few of us that connected, and we stayed connected, and we had the same idea. We wanted to give back. We wanted to do as much as we can, and that's why we stepped forward and made Beyond the Ribbon. And I mean, we haven't even hit the year, but the grants, are going a long way and helping the people in the valley.
Mm-hmm. So, is the fashion show here in McAllen, or where does that take place?
Yeah, so Debbie Liu has her fashion shows. The one that we participated in was in McAllen at the Radisson Hotel. I know she does move the locations. I'm not too sure where she'll have it next.
Okay.
But she does reach out to individuals who are, whether they're patients or survivors, and it's a moment of dressing the patient up, the survivor up, and making them feel loved and just special. I mean, it's
it sounds like a really amazing event.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all are sharing the story. That's really cool. And I'm guessing y'all heard of this through Texas Oncology, or
no? I think it was like Facebook or something, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into, to be quite honest. Because when I started my journey, I was very open about it. I shared my journey from the beginning. I would post videos. I was like a little blog type of deal that I had going on. And I was contacted, and I was like, sure, why not? And that's how it all started.
Wow.
I showed up, didn't know anyone. But thankfully we're here because of that. I met Lori, and I met Jennifer Sanchez Ames, who's also a board member, and Dr. Lynette, she's a board member. So like we connected there, and it's just
flourished. It's been one thing after another. And we're planning our first event for the year. It's going to be in June 27th. It's going to be a wellness yoga retreat.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to have some phenomenal people guiding us. Nisa, our yoga instructor, is going to volunteer time to lead a class of yoga. And then Irma Burr, who is going to be leading us in a sound bowl.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have
That's awesome.
quite a few things going on, and we're going to have some sponsors, with at the vendors, you know, just giving out the information of their own.
And where's that gonna be held at?
It's in Mission, so it's
Okay.
called Casa Once. It's off of, if you hit 107, it's off of between Los Ebanos and then Inspiration Road. It's in like an outdoor location. It's gonna be beautiful. It's just one of those moments where you're gonna be sitting out and having all the yoga mats out. It's an outdoorsy event location.
Cool.
There's a pool out there, and like Lori said, we're gonna be having vendor tables. We're gonna have for nonprofits, for vendor resource tables, and for individuals who also want to sell their products or whatever the case may be. We're open to all, and all the funds are for our nonprofit, for our Grant of Hope, so that we can continue giving out those $1,000 grants.
Wow.
So.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right, everyone, and we're back with Lori and Amanda. Oh, and actually, real quick, before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to Amanda Alanis. I wanted to say thank you for nominating me for the Profile in Excellence here at the university a couple weeks ago. So, Amanda, I hope you're listening, and we just wanted to say thank you as this is the last show, and I just wanted to give you your flowers while I can, because this is gonna, as the semester's winding up, this is pretty much the last week for all of Waikato Radio's DJs to do their shows. And as always, just a quick reminder, the views expressed on RGV Community Health Hour are for informational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. Be sure to consult your primary care provider for all your health care needs. All right, so and now we're back with Lori and Amanda. So other than, I'm guessing just the next few months are gearing up and getting ready for that event in June, or was it July?
June
the 27th. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of what y'all are busy doing these days, or?
Yeah, so we're in the planning phase. Right now we're trying to get vendors to participate in our event. We're reaching out to sponsors. Just right now we want the community to know who we are. We've been grateful for the community support that we've had since we started, but in order for us to continue giving to the community, the individuals who are battling, we need to also show our presence, and so that people know what our true mission is and where the funds are going to. So right now it's more of just
getting yourself out
getting
there.
ourselves out there, yeah.
And we're asking for vendors, local. I mean, we can help, restaurants, anybody that's, in the local food industry, wellness, any type of local business that wants to come out and participate. Insurance, if you want a table just to promote yourself at the event, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same kind of category. It can be just any type of vendor that wants to participate and be there, promoting themselves as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, speaking of that, there's a Facebook group that I've been a part of for a few years now. It's called RGV Vendors. So you might want to just look at groups too, because there's always, I feel like there's some kind of event, almost every day seemingly in the valley where people are looking for vendors to come and, put their tables up and things like that. So like always those Facebook groups, there's a Facebook group for everything, seemingly. So yeah, if you just look up, I think it's called RGV Vendors.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, so you just gotta look that up, and of course, just let them know who you are, and see if
We get any takes?
Yeah, for sure.
In the valley, everybody's affected by cancer in some way or another. Either friend, family, relative, it doesn't matter. You know somebody that has gone through cancer. So a lot of these local owners of businesses have gone through it in some way or another, whether it's breast cancer, colon cancer, any type of cancer. They've been affected, and it seems like everybody's been affected. So as much as we want to give back, I'm sure they would want to give back in the same way, just, being present at some of these events.
And then just kind of getting back real quick to when you all met at the fashion show, and because your organization is relatively new, was this fashion show recently that y'all met, or y'all met a while ago and y'all were just
it's been 3 years.
Oh, okay. So this is something y'all just kept brainstorming for a while now.
Yeah, so we participated in the fashion show, and then we were part of the board with Debbie Lou to help host the fashion show the following year. So we helped raise funds, and we helped with the whole planning phase and all of that. And then after that is when we were like, okay, now it's game time. Let's start looking into our nonprofit and getting all the paperwork ready and
Yeah,
let's go.
filing for that tax exempt status
Yeah.
is the big one.
It
Yeah.
takes a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we started in January, ended in July.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it does take a while. It takes a lot of approvals and a lot of paperwork and
Lori and I would be on the phone like in the evening time frame. Are you doing this right? And back and forth.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh wait, so yeah, did y'all do the paperwork yourselves?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
yeah, and it was interesting because I mean we learned a lot.
yeah.
And we got everything set and
Nice.
everything's
Yeah, it's awesome because of course the easy way to go about it is to hire a lawyer to do it for you, but of course that takes.
Well, we
financial-
hired ChatGPT.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, seriously, that's a blessing, these days is.
Oh yeah,
is-
AI.
Yeah.
yeah, and also like I was a contract specialist for a little over 6-7 years. So
Okay.
I would manage contract. I mean that was my day in day out.
Yeah, just reading
So,
all the legalese of
Yes,
contract.
yeah. So when we started this nonprofit, I was real about the paperwork. Like we gotta make sure that
Yeah. Don't want to
every
kick back for some
Mhm.
little reason or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a big part of being a scientist as well as writing grants,
Yeah.
getting, $1 million grants from the government to do some kind of, research. And, so it's, one of those things where you really need to be as clear as possible
Right.
in what you're trying to get done and what, especially for research purposes.
And I think a lot of people like think that it's easy, but it's not. It's hard
Yeah,
work.
for sure. So, other than this event coming up, is there anything towards the end of the year y'all are trying to already
Our
brainstorm
main
up, or-
event is in October.
Oh, okay.
October,
Oh, yeah, the
since it
breast
is breast
cancer.
cancer.
Yeah, it's the
awareness
last.
month.
So we already have a date on our calendar. It's the last week of October on a Tuesday. But we still haven't finalized like the location and all
Okay.
that good stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's like our big event of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do plan moving forward every year. We do want to do a wellness retreat and then our big event in October.
So,
More formal.
yeah, for
Yeah.
for the breast cancer awareness month.
Yeah.
And we do have plans to have people that are going through the cancer and being present and being recognized, and
Mhm.
we want to involve like more of the details as we go.
Yeah.
Adding to not just a fundraiser. It's more like
A moment to celebrate their
Mhm.
survivorship or so we actually a part of our nonprofit is the Grant of Hope. It's an application based grant that the individuals can go in and apply for.
Okay.
It's $1,000 and they're able to select a package. We have 4 packages, and depending on that patient's need, they can select package 1, 2, 3, or 4. For example, the first one is for medical expenses that it can include co-pays, visits, whatever the case may be. So like Lori mentioned, we've already given out close to 20,000. Well, that's 20 individuals who have already applied for that grant.
Wow.
And we have a backlog of people that are waiting to get the grant, and it's an application based. We ask for information. We make sure that the patient is currently in treatment.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different steps that as board members we look into when we meet. And one of the things that I always stress to the board and just in general to the community is we wish that we could give $1,000 to everybody who's on our list.
Mhm.
And it's just so hard for that to happen.
Yeah.
And the only way that can happen is if we have the community supporting us.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just one of those things that we're just trying to work hard to get to that point where we're able to give back as much as we can.
And so these grants, like you had mentioned, they're specifically so there's 4 different categories.
Mhm.
Would one of those categories be for the way I guess the easiest way would just to kind of just talk about what she told me. So the receptionist that I go to, for my dentist, she told me she had like a little a little thing to like collect money for her expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her about all the resources that I know about, and she's like, "Oh, well, I just had a double mastectomy, and now I need to go through reconstruction."
Yes.
So I was wondering, is
Yeah,
that something?
for
Okay.
sure.
as long as they're active.
Okay.
As long as they're active and not in remission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
they have to have some sort of doctor's diagnosis that they have been diagnosed and that they're currently being treated. It doesn't matter if they're going through, they just got diagnosed and they need further treatment, meaning more, maybe mammograms or another ultrasound, going through radiation, going through chemo,
Or
going through,
surgeries.
yeah,
Yeah.
going through
Okay.
surgeries.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some women that are still going through surgeries.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a never ending thing. You know,
Yeah.
every year you're getting
Yeah.
tested whether you have any, reoccurrence. So it's just, you know, it's, once you've dealt with cancer, it's
part of
it's
life.
part of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something, you know, I've had Elvia on the show, I think 2 or 3 times, and that's one thing she's always talking about, you know, like it's changes your life forever, like, because of those, obviously the chemotherapy drugs are very strong, and, you know, it takes a toll on your body, and then the side effects and things like that.
Correct.
So, if y'all don't mind sharing, I was just curious about that, in terms of being diagnosed. Did y'all self-diagnose, or was it at a mammogram? or-
Yeah, so I can, I see your face, so I can start first.
I mean, you don't have to share if you don't want to.
I'm willing to share.
Okay.
So I was, like I said, I was diagnosed during COVID, and back then, I mean, I still am, but I was very active in working out. So I had my own little workout area at home. So I was doing kettlebells, and then afterwards showered, and during my showers when I started self-checking, and I felt something, and I was like, okay, what is this? Did I pull something when I did a workout move, or so that's what I was thinking. And then coincidentally, I had my annual gynecologist appointment, so I brought it up to my gyno, and she was like, I think we need to check further. So that's when all like the ultrasound started, the biopsies,
Yeah.
all of that good stuff. But yeah, I did catch it when I was self-checking myself.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very important.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah,
very
seriously.
important.
Yeah.
I felt something in my breast 1 year. I did go and explain it to my OB, and she kind of brushed it off.
Wow.
She was kind of like, you're too young, you don't have a history of breast cancer in your family, you know, let's just check next year.
Oh, no.
Well, next year came around, I still had that bump. And she again brushed it off, so I ended up going and seeing a doctor I personally knew and grew up with, and he was kind of like, let me have you speak to my PA, because the PA was female. Well, she kind of monitored it from January to July, and it grew. And she's like, no, I think we need to get a biopsy.
Wow.
If I wouldn't have gone that next step, I probably would have brushed it off myself. So if you do feel something, if you think that something's wrong with your body, go ahead and like believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And go that extra step and get that checking. You know, do as much as you can, because if I would have taken the first doctor's advice, I probably would have just been further along the road of the treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cancer diagnosis.
And a lot can happen in a year, you know, as
Correct.
cancer is just mutations in our body going crazy, and it's just gonna keep growing without, you know.
I always say, like, so I was originally diagnosed with stage 0, and I advocated for myself, and I decided to go get a second opinion. And then surgery and all of that happened, and I was stage 3B. So can you imagine?
Wow.
So we always tell the community or people around us, like, we're our own advocate.
Yeah.
Like, we need to speak up for ourselves, and if you don't feel comfortable with what's being told to you, or whatever the case may be, do something about it. Don't stay silent.
Don't stay silent. But also, once I went through the whole biopsy, my surgeon for the biopsy even said, oh, it just might be scar tissue, don't worry about it. It looked like scar tissue.
Wow.
Well, I went and got the results, and I ended up having breast cancer.
Wow.
Luckily, I caught it at an early stage,
Yeah.
so I was treated. I went through radiation, 33 rounds, and
Wow.
stayed on a kind of a medication for 5 years. And I know Amanda's going through that 5-year mark with her medication, and it's kind of safety blanket. And I think I
That's what I
had
was
this
sharing.
conversation with Amanda like 2 weeks ago. I didn't know whether to let go of that medication or not. I still have the bottle in my closet, you know, just in case. But you know, it's that safety that this medication and the treatments give you, because, you know, you go through it and you're cancer-free for the time that you're on the medication. And giving that, it's that leap of faith.
Yeah,
After
seriously.
you go through all that treatment.
Yeah, I'm glad that I asked you all that, because, you know, it is very important to, you know, nobody knows our bodies better than ourselves, you know, and so it's one of those things where if you don't feel right, you gotta go get that second opinion.
Yeah.
I've had on Dr. Robles, Sylvia Robles, she's a professor here at RGV, and she had cancer, a very aggressive type of cancer. I can't remember, it wasn't breast cancer, but it was an aggressive form of some type of cancer. And she said what really made her realize that she was sick with something was that she would just like have these emotional outbursts, like really like something was hormonally wrong with her or something, to where she knew like, hey, this isn't me, like something's going on. So she went to her doctor here in the States, and he kind of brushed it off. And then she went to her doctor in Mexico, and they were like, oh yeah, you have cancer, you need to let your American doctor know. And so she did let him know. She was like, hey, my doctor in Mexico said I had cancer. And the doctor here was like, no, you're good, you're good. So she went back to let the doctor in Mexico know again, and she's like, no, tell him exactly this, this, and this, and this. So she said that whenever she went back to her American doctor and he finally properly diagnosed her, she said that he couldn't even look her in the eyes. It's like, that's how much shame he felt for like brushing it off. So yeah, getting those second opinions, yeah, unfortunately. And I've had kind of the same thing myself, not with cancer, but with, I have had a torn labrum, and I saw VA doctors, you know, being a veteran for years, and they couldn't properly diagnose me. But then finally I saw a civilian doctor, in like 15 minutes he diagnosed me, and I got surgery the next month.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went through like 7 years of a bunch of shoulder pain for my torn labrum, but yeah, getting those second opinions is really, and I knew there was something wrong, right? Because I was like in so much pain all the time, and they just, I don't know why they couldn't diagnose me, but yeah, you just, you know, you got to go to San Antonio or Houston or Dallas, or, you know, you got to find of course, MD Anderson is, you know, world renowned. So yeah, it's definitely the place you want to go if you get some kind of cancer.
So is local.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
yes, so Texas Oncology has been great to me. I love all the doctors there, the PAs. Dr. Restrepo is
that's awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah, of course, because there's bad doctors in big cities too.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've been blessed to have good
Yeah,
doctors.
I was assigned an oncologist at MD Anderson, and I picked Dr. Merrick over him. So,
wow.
You know, a local doctor gave me more of a better bedside manner and comfort that I needed.
And it matters.
It does matter. It does matter who you see, and, you know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everyone, we're going to take another quick music break, and we'll be right back, so stay tuned. All right, everyone, and we're back with Lori and Amanda from Beyond the Ribbon. So, you know, I know the organization's relatively new, but, you know, what are your, like, big goals y'all have in mind? Like, I know y'all said y'all want to do these, you know, annual retreat type things, and then, of course, in October, do something a little more formal. But is it just, hey, let's just try to raise as much money as we can to provide grants?
So like not only, I mean, it's not all about fundraising. We do a lot of community events. We go out and help with 5Ks. When it comes to breast cancer awareness, like that month of October is really busy for us. We're also part of the Texas Healthcare Alliance.
Okay, cool.
We are part of that organization. So we also help with cancer fairs. We just had one last week that, I think it was last week we attended. We had our table, so it's more about just helping out in that sense, helping the community, giving them resources of what a nonprofit does provide. But I think the main goal for us is to give out as many grants as we can. Right now we're limited, so we do give about 5 grants per quarter.
Okay.
And it's based off of an application, like I mentioned earlier. This quarter we were able to give out, we did like weekly, back to back, right? We gave out 3, I think, back to back.
Wow.
Which we were good, like within a month. And I was like, okay, because our mindset is like, well, these patients, because we've been there, cannot be waiting.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like as soon as money comes in, y'all are trying to
yes,
get it
like
out
we
the
need
door.
to get it out. Yeah, so
that's
that's what we're focusing on. but that's like the main goal is to provide
The
for them.
financial,
Yeah, and the
financial
support,
resources.
have more support groups and have more people involved within the community. I don't think a lot of people understand how much it impacts the patient. So it's more about providing education so that we have more of a bigger community.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what really goes a long way, you know, other than, of course, the financial support. But it's just
Yeah.
like, you know, like y'all said, you know, it's obviously whenever someone gets diagnosed and has to go through that journey, it's new to them. It's something that they've never gone through or experienced, unless somebody close, you know, that's close.
Yeah.
But even then, it's gonna be a different experience, right? It's gonna be different for everyone, no matter how closely related you.
Yeah,
you
so
know
let me
someone.
share, it's even like the emotional support.
Mhm.
When I was diagnosed, I was a single mom with my little boy who was, so let me tell you first, so chemo has messed with my brain, and we talk about this all the time in the meds, like I get real bad brain fog, so I forget a lot of things, but I think Mario was 5 or 6 around there.
Okay.
And I had to put him in counseling. It really affected him emotionally and mentally.
Mhm.
My son is now, he's 11. Actually, he was 6. So he's 11, and he still worries when I go to appointments.
Wow.
So can you imagine?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, very, you know, traumatic to see,
Yeah.
you know, your superhero, right? Your
Mhm.
mom, your dad get sick like that, and then when you're so young that you don't really understand the full ins and outs
Yeah,
of like.
so there's so many people who could benefit from learning about our nonprofit.
I think our end goal maybe in, 5-10 year goal probably would be to help other cancers, not
Okay.
just breast
Yeah.
cancers.
Yeah.
That's where we picked our name Beyond the Ribbon, because it's not just geared to breast. We don't
Mhm.
have breast in our name, but
Yeah.
Beyond the Ribbon can be any ribbon.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's a great point because,
Mhm.
you know, there are so many different cancers out there and they do use ribbons as a symbol, right? The different colors for the different types of cancers. And so, yeah, it's a really great point. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, in the Valley, there's just so much, you know, different disease, that goes around in terms of, like I had mentioned before, you know, how our department studies non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and Alzheimer's and other weird dementias, and those are really on the rise,
Oh, yeah.
Alzheimer's. And so, yeah, just being able to, you know, provide support and expand your organization in those ways would definitely be a blessing for the Valley.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because we've been contacted by people that are going through different types of cancer, not just breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, right now, our goal is just breast cancer, and we hope to not have to turn down anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Back to that, like we have also been contacted if they're able to attend our support groups, and our doors are open to any types of cancers.
Yeah.
Whether it's the patient, the family member, whoever it is. So that's one thing that our nonprofit does offer.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a really good point too, is the caregivers, you know, go through a lot as well. And I actually, I think she was maybe the second guest of the semester coming on the show. Her name's Denise Gadiaga. She's doing her PhD in clinical psychology, and her PhD is focused on, like, her dissertation work is focused on the mental health of the caregivers when they're taking care of somebody with like dementia and Alzheimer's, because, you know, of course, for those kinds of diseases, you know, the people start to forget like who you are, and then of course that's like an extra burden on the caregiver, because it's like having a, you know, essentially feeling like a stranger to somebody who's known you for a long time, and you know, in those kinds of situations. So it's really great having her on, and you know, having her talk about, you know, her experiences and what motivated her to want to study that, because, you know, a personal connection in your family and seeing it firsthand. So yeah, it's really great that you open your doors to everybody, because, you know, it's part of the human experience. You know, it's like y'all mentioned, you know, somebody in the Valley more than likely, you know, knows somebody who's had a cancer, or, you know, whether it's a friend or, you know, someone in the family. And yeah, it can be a lot to deal with, you know, a mental burden for sure.
Yeah. I just read a friend post. I was not aware that they were going through cancer in the family, and the person that I was writing the post was the caregiver of the family member, and what they described going through emotionally, where they had to hide their feelings,
Hmm.
and they never broke
Wow.
down, and finally it
It's like the
they
dam
had
broke.
to, they had to cry, and the family members saw them crying, and it takes a toll on them.
Mhm.
And that's why we are highly encourage caregivers to come, because it's emotional for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. And got to give Joshua Morales a shout out, because not only of all of his posts that he shares in terms of the environmental factors that we deal with down here, but he also, that's actually how I met Denise Gariaga, because I joined his Alzheimer's and dementia, like RGV Alzheimer's and dementia group that he had created. And then I saw her post, she basically posted like, hey, I'm a PhD student at UTRGV. If y'all don't mind taking my survey, if you're a caregiver, I'm trying to get some, data on caregivers. So I sent her a message. I was like, hey, do you want to come on the show and talk about what you're doing, and maybe we can get more people to take your survey and things like that. So yeah, shout out to Joshua for all the awesome documentaries and posts and groups and everything that he's doing to, try to raise awareness and help the Valley out in any way that he can.
Open our eyes.
Yeah.
Because when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I changed my way of eating, everything I put on my body, everything that was around me, everything in the environment has some sort of chemical.
Yeah.
So I've changed pretty much everything. My creams, everything, my lotions, my creams, my body wash, my shampoo, everything has changed in my life.
Yeah, I mean, and sorry to interrupt, but
No.
I was just gonna say, my guest last week, where she was talking about the bisphenols, she was like, the makeup we use, like, it has these things in it, and it's like, man, it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, I remember having those conversations with my oncologist. He was like, you're gonna have to get rid of everything you have in your makeup bag and go buy everything new. And I was like,
Yeah, and one thing that I was told to stay away from was corn. So, it's just things that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah.
It's just a change of life.
It really is.
Coming from a family that didn't have breast cancer, and I was the first one to be diagnosed with breast cancer, it makes you think, whether it's the environmental or it's the stress or the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big part of it is the stress too. Of course, stress is a killer.
yeah.
And it's so funny because, they've been saying that for decades now, and people kind of take it with a grain of salt, like, oh, is it really that bad of a killer? And then I have an army buddy who, he literally talks about this all the time. He's like, man, I used to think that was like BS, like because we're machismo infantrymen, he's like, oh yeah, no, that's stress, that's nothing, I can handle that. But now he stresses and he just actually feels like the toll it takes on his body, and he's like, man, I can't believe I used to write that off as like, stress, like it's no big deal. But yeah, stress is terrible for you. Yeah, so, but you mentioned the corn. I just wanted to mention real quick, because I had, talked about my classmate Marco, who's studying aflatoxin, which is a mycotoxin made by mold, and it's actually it's really in the corn. It's a big part of, it's also in like different agricultural products like peanuts and legumes, and it basically like the whole food supply. And so yeah, but corn is definitely one of the big ones, and so that's probably why they're like.
It was actually from a DHR doctor. He was like, just stay away from corn. And I was like, corn? Corn's everything. Corn tortillas.
Yeah,
corn,
seriously.
Corn chips, everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what we eat here in the valley.
Yeah, it was funny when I was telling Joshua when I had him on the show. He asked me a little bit about the research I do, and I was like, talking to, like I was telling you during the music break a little bit about it. And I told him, I mentioned to him, like, oh yeah, barbecue, everybody loves barbecue, man, but there's a lot of BAP in that barbecue, because you're, obviously you're cooking it, and like I mentioned, it's the incomplete combustion of organic material. And he's like, oh man, don't say that, because like,
Don't say that, I just got into curly.
Yeah, well, he's like, man, basically, because of course what he puts out in terms of the air we breathe, the water we drink, and he's like, man, and now if you're telling people they can't eat barbecue, like they're gonna go crazy.
So another thing I changed to was alkaline water.
Oh, yeah.
All I drink is alkaline water. Yeah, because I when I was in Houston, I was highly educated on alkaline water, and I was just like, oh, okay, now I need to drink alkaline water. That's the only thing I drink. So
But I do think it's environmental because, I mean, at MD Anderson, you see all walks of life.
Mhm.
And I run into so many people who were like to the T of what they would put in their body, what they would drink,
Mhm.
and there they were with stage 4 cancer.
Wow.
So it's like one of those things,
Yeah.
it's
So like I mentioned,
difficult.
our genetics play a role, of course. You can have genes that may make you more susceptible to something, but there are also genes that protect you from sickness. But yeah, the way I always explain it to people is like, it would be like living right downwind of Chernobyl or Fukushima, like right where these nuclear, uh, power plants melted down. And of course, everybody knows that nuclear radiation is bad for you, and you're going to get sick if you live next to it. So that's like always the easy example I give of an environmental thing. But before I started studying air pollution and how it can make you sick in so many different ways, I never thought like air pollution. Like, of course, it's going to be bad. You want to breathe clean air, but I never thought could give you everything from throat cancer to lung cancer to breast cancer to colon cancer. I mean, it literally. There was a report that I think it was a review paper that was put out here in the last like 6 months to a year or so that was talking about like just the plethora of cancers that air pollution can give you. And I was like, wow, it's kind of crazy. Because in my mind, I think like, okay, we're breathing in the air with our lungs. It should only make us susceptible to lung cancer, you would think, right? But yeah, it's a lot more complicated biology, in terms of the biology than that. So.
And you don't think, I always tell myself I'm gonna be the next Aaron Brockovich. But in my neighborhood that I grew up with, so many women diagnosed and passed away with breast cancer.
Wow.
And, I always say it was one thing, but, caused by one thing, and you don't think towers. But, maybe one day I'll do that research. I mean, it's where you live, it's what you're exposed to.
Yeah, the dirt under your feet, you never know what's hiding, especially around here. It's a lot of agricultural land historically, so a lot of the early pesticides and fertilizers, those things are banned now because they know that they're really bad for you.
Yeah.
But now they're digging up the dirt to create subdivisions and new things, and all those things that have been kind of hidden under our feet are now coming up with all this, economic growth that we're going through. And it's like, yeah, it's one of those things that it's hard to pin down, of course, because it's usually, that's what makes the environmental side of it really interesting, because our genes are finite, right? We only have so much DNA in our body in terms of, the 3 billion base pairs, and it is finite versus the environment goes on forever, right? So there's so many different factors. But yeah, so we're coming up on our hour, ladies, so I like to give the mic at the very end, so for the next 5 minutes or so, whatever y'all want to share. I know we've shared a little bit about your events coming up, and advice y'all have in terms of going and getting a second opinion. But yeah, so for the next few minutes, feel free to share anything y'all want to.
So our application can be found on beyondtheribbon.info, and all you need to do is apply, and it comes straight to us, and we can give you a notification through email, phone call, on where you are in the line. So if you know anybody, if you want to refer them to our application for our financial grant assistance, have them look at our website and have them apply. Also, you can find us on Beyond the Ribbon 6 _ RGV on Instagram.
Okay.
You can follow us there. You can follow us on Facebook.
On Facebook, we also have a LinkedIn page.
Okay, nice.
So anything that we're doing, you'll be notified, and we'll be posting about our events, our support groups. Anybody's welcome to our support groups. Anybody's welcome to our events. And if you're interested in participating in anything that we do, just reach out to us.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I just want to end with just remember that it's so important to be your own advocate. If you're feeling something, speak up and don't stay silent. I was diagnosed at a very young age. We have seen women who have been diagnosed at 22, 23. So don't be afraid to speak up. There's just so much community, there's so much support around. the RGV that patients, survivors, caregivers can tap into. We're all a family. So I'm here to open up our arms to whoever is battling breast cancer or any types of cancer for our support groups. Like we mentioned in the beginning, we're survivors, so we know what it's like to go through the journey. We know what it's like with the surgeries. I did have a single right mastectomy, all the treatments and chemo, radiation to reconstruction. So, and I was a single mom, so I know how to nourish somebody who's going through it or to give advice. So I just want to share that don't feel scared or embarrassed. Like, this is just part of life, and we just got to continue supporting each other and providing that support and being a community of a community. Yeah.
Also, we do have a WhatsApp chat
Yes.
Oh,
I
cool.
forgot to mention that. Yeah.
that we have survivors and patients, current patients, and they will post on there what they're going through, if it's normal, what can they do if something's happening, or how they feel. So we're all just a community of, help and love.
Yeah.
Because you have to surround yourself with love and happiness when you're going through this. I know it's not the happiest time of life, but that's what will get you through.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and I will say that now that I have gone through the hard part, I've learned to appreciate life much more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's just crazy, like the little things make me happy. You learn to live life.
Yeah,
because
for
we
sure.
just never know there's always like the setback is always hard, but the comeback is always stronger, I always say. So yeah, if you're going through the journey, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And just like Lori mentioned, the Community of Hope Support Group, we do have a form on our website where they can go in and submit their information, their phone number, and then we get the submission on our email, and then we can go ahead and add them to the chat.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you all so much.
Thanks for
Lori
having us.
and
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all's time and coming on. And so yeah, this is it for the semester, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed, the shows this semester. I tried to make sure, I pressed really hard to try to get a guest every week. I didn't succeed. I think there was maybe two, maybe three shows where I didn't have guests, but I think that's a new record for me. So yeah, so it's always kind of a struggle, being a PhD student myself and trying to reach out to a bunch of people and line things up to get them on to come on the show. But so yeah, it's all, we have for today, everyone. So thanks for tuning in. This is DJ Galicia Kid reminding you to stay curious, stay healthy, and let's thrive together, RGV.